What's up, and welcome to episode 20 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. I'm Mike.
And I'm your co-host Joel.
How we doing, man?
Doing well. I mean, I can't believe we made it to 20 episodes.
I know I paused there for a second as I was saying it because
That's
we
crazy.
did it.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you to our two listeners. We appreciate you sticking with us for these
Yeah,
20 episodes.
we are one episode away from being legal to purchase alcohol.
Yeah.
So there it is. Well, actually, so it's very early in the morning, but don't you
Yeah.
think that means I ain't pouring a beer? I got a Return of the Juice. It is
Return of the juice. Yeah, yeah.
nice. Thank
Return
you.
of the juice.
They do so many Star Wars puns in there, so I guess Return of the Juice had to happen.
Is that the same people that do the blue milk?
No, that's Magnify. Um, yeah, I guess Star Wars is just a hot topic in the beer world. Gotta get it. Hmm. Well,
Bunch of nerds.
yeah, fucking boo. Anyway, how was your Fallout Commander deck night? You got. I want to hear how those decks played. I wasn't able to be part of that. Boom, there you go. How'd that go?
Oh, it was okay, so first, it was a blast. Um I would say more than the usual, like kind of everyone plays a pre-con kind of game. And I feel like that's mostly just because, everyone kind of knows, everyone that I was playing with was familiar with the Fallout IP, so it was just a lot of fun just discovering new cards and like saying like, "Oh, it's that character or it's that thing from the game." Like that was a lot of fun. The decks themselves are very, very fun. And they interact with each other well. I just get like top level kind of impressions from each one. So I ended up actually winning both games. We all shuffled decks. The first game I took with Dogmeat, and
Nice.
Dogmeat's a great time. I texted you right afterwards, but I have to say that junk tokens are awesome. Junk tokens are such a great mechanic. Um, because I didn't feel, one problem with Voltron sometimes is that like it's very easy to get blown out, and you dump all your artifacts. I mean, dump all equipments on it. You dump all your enchantments, and the creature gets removed, and then you're out of luck. I mean, obviously your equipment stick around, but like losing that creature can be pretty rough, and you tend to
Yeah.
like it's a deck where you tend to dump your hand. Like you're not really holding things back. But with junk tokens, I just felt like I had extra cards in hand essentially,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Dogmeat gives the tokens, if anything, that's equipped or enchanted attack. So, there was times when I had, it and another creature equipped or enchanted, and then I was swinging to make it two junk tokens, and that was awesome. So, Dogmeat was super cool. I'm very excited to update Dogmeat. Um, Another part of Dogmeat that's fantastic is that mill 5 and return an aura equipment from your graveyard to your hand. Like
Yeah.
that was another thing. Like so then you do get blown out. Things get, your enchantments go to the graveyard. Usually I was bringing back auras. Swing with Dogmeat and play Dogmeat, or like if he died, summon him again, and you could get an enchantment back. And then side
Hmm.
note, speaking of back, is the strong back enchantment is fucking awesome.
Strong
Um,
back. Yes.
yes, strong back is very, very powerful. Um, just to like reread it, it's two and a green for an aura. Equip abilities you activate that target enchanted creature costs three less to activate. Aura spells you cast that target enchanted creature costs three less to cast, and then the enchanted creature gets plus two for each aura and equipment attached to it. So like it was the equipment side of that card that really made it very powerful, because so like I said, like the equipments are still on the battlefield, and there was one time when Dogby got removed in a board wipe or whatever, a single target removal, and then I played him, and then with that card was able to like equip like a free like Swiftfoot boots and free whatever. Most equipment costs are three and below, so it's essentially equipped for free.
Right.
So that was That was great. So dog meat, A plus.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Mothman. Rad counters are super fun. Um, great time. The only complaint I have about rad counters, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is that the rad counter activates on your pre-combat main phase, and we were finding that, and obviously just follow the rules, but that it's the natural tendency. So like you draw your card, and then you begin your main phase. And there were many, many, many times when the person forgot to do the rad counter at that point, because now you have that new card in your hand and you're already just kind of like assessing like what is my turn going to look like instead of like
Yeah.
stopping to do that. I really wish it would have happened during the upkeep. So because
Yeah.
it seems like an upkeep kind of trigger, like okay, untap, upkeep, do the brads, draw my card, begin my turn. So why
Right.
do you think they might have done it during pre-combat main phase?
Uh, Man, I don't know. I agree with you very much. Like stuff like that is where you want to put the dice on your deck and kind of, remind yourself that something's going to happen. But if you put a dice on a deck and then, you, well, I guess you can, but it would be cleaner to happen before the draw happens. And purpose wise, I can't see one. I mean, it's not like milling at your upkeep would change anything. And I don't know. Is
Yeah,
there anything to do with lore or flavor? Like anything?
not as far as the my only speculation is so that that Rads didn't fuck with top deck manipulation strategies. That was the only
Oh,
thought. So that like if your turn goes and you put something on top of your library, or you tutor, that your Rad counters won't like instantly just mill whatever the top card is like every turn.
right. Because one of the methods is to kind of radiate yourself, correct?
Yes.
So, all right. So that makes a lot of sense. That way, if you do plan on a self radiation, that you can still manipulate. Hmm.
But I still wish it was upkeep. But yeah, so the person playing the ride deck needs to be like the smothering tithe and Ristic Study Police, and be like, hey, did you do your red counters? Did you do your red
Yeah.
counters?
Yeah.
Um, but they were fun, and there was definitely times when the damage added up. So
What's the highest number of radiation counters someone had on them at a point? Like, how high can
I
these things go?
I got so most of the time people landed in like the 2 to 3 rad counters range.
Okay.
um, Coming from just Mothman being played, or like a one-off effect that's like everyone gets a radiation. I think actually Nuclear Fallout was played, so everyone got like a couple from that. The most
Nice.
anyone had actually was me, where I got 8, where it was some creature that I think gives you rad counters equal to like the damage it deals to you, or something like that. So it's not poison, but
Hmm.
so I had 8 on me, and milling 8 isn't fun. Um, and like I only lost 4 from my first mill, so then on my next round I had to do 4 more, so 12 cards over the rad counters. I definitely think that rad counters should be like you should just it's like turbo like mill, like you know what I mean. Like if I was gonna upgrade that deck, I'd add like more mill pieces to it, because
Right.
if
Oh,
you
that
can
that
get
makes
them up
sense.
there.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's a lot of fun. So I also played the Caesar's Legion, or Kaisar if you played Fallout New Vegas. Um, and that was awesome, dude. That deck has so much synergy and value. That no point as soon as I landed Caesar on turn 4, it was like it was over. The fact that he gets 2 activations from a creature sacrifice is what really
Yeah.
sets it apart. So like
Yeah.
you're swinging whatever. I'm sending a bullshit 1/1 token at you. Sacrifice it. Now I have 2 tokens. But I had out Bastion of Remembrance, so then everyone's taking a damage when something dies. And I have two
Mm.
1/1s. Or if you block them and kill them, cool. Doesn't matter because everyone's taking 2. So that aristocracy thing is fantastic. And then you could choose, hey, do I want to draw a card and lose a life every turn, which is always valuable, or do I want to ping somebody for how many tokens I have? And that all happens before they block and kill them. So once
Yeah.
I got to like 5, 6 tokens, it was like, oh, you're gonna take 6 to the face, and you have, you know, 8 creatures swinging at you wide, and if you kill them, you're taking a damage for each one, and I'm gaining life.
Oh my God. Oh my god.
Yeah, that got out of hand really quickly. So that one, which I'm surprised about, because that one's the one I was like the least like excited about, kind of going into it, and out of the box to me, that one seems like it might be the strongest, just because of like how synergistic it is.
Yeah, that's a lot of value out of, simple little tokens. When you could take a not even permanent 1/1 and, well, I guess it's permanent but it's not a card. Like just take that and make it win the game. I mean, that's good value. Got to love
Yeah,
good value.
didn't even need to do like an overrun effect to win that game. It was all just aristocracy bullshit, and 1/1's going wide.
Nice.
And then the last deck, which to me was the most disappointing, still cool but very disappointing, was the energy deck. And I say that because in the two games we played, which albeit is a small sample size, it just didn't do anything impressive. Like the person built up some energy. Actually, I would say the most scary thing about that deck was the land Helios one, where you can pay energy and tap it to destroy a non-land permanent with mana value equal to the energy you paid. So like having a every turn like a kill spell kind of on the field in a land form was very good. We also didn't see like Liberty Primed at all come out,
Yeah.
but or Liberty Reprimed, I forget what it's called, but yeah, that one, nothing they did was scary, and no point in either of the two games was it ever really like threatening. It kind of just dirtled and made some energy, and like I just don't think that there's enough. Beep boop yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough payoff in that. So that will definitely benefit from bringing in some of the Kaladesh cards and the new Modern Horizons 3 Jeskai energy deck. I'm sure that ultimately the final form of that deck is just going to be those two commander decks mashed together with like some Kaladesh support. Exactly, yeah, scissor those two
Yeah.
decks.
Yeah.
Um,
All
so
right.
yeah,
Well,
that one needs more upgrades. I'm sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say that sounds good that they haven't broken that energy yet. I mean, there is more coming out. So if it already was like super powerful and people are like, whoa, so good. They're doing it right. Keep energy at a nice power level and give it the flavor, but don't go crazy with it.
Yeah. So overall, good times, great decks. Go pick them up if you're interested in Fallout. If you want a new cool precon, just like the Doctor Who. Oh, and I'll say on the side note that I've seen some complaints online that these decks aren't as strong as like the Warhammer 40K ones, or
Yeah, I've
like
seen that.
pushed as the Doctor Who ones. And I have to say, I did not feel that when I was playing them. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, caveat, I'm a huge Fallout fan, so that definitely colored my opinion. But just as a Magic player, they were very fun to play. I thought they were like at a perfect power level. If you want to zhuzh them and increase them, it's easy to do. There's a lot of got a good cards you can add to them. Only thing I could complain about is that the land bases are, pretty, but I don't
Yeah.
understand why Battle Bond lands still aren't coming standard in pre-con. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Um, Land bases are always my problem. Like I never take the time to give it the attention that it needs. It
It's the
normally does
first
bite
thing
me in
I
the
do.
ass. I know. Yeah. Yeah. We're always the opposite. Um, but lately I've been trying to, as you've always told me, don't get rid of any of your good lands. If you get a good land, just don't get rid of it.
Hold
Put
it
it somewhere you're going
forever.
to use it. And every land I've pulled in the past like 2 or 3 years, I just kind of shove somewhere. And now as I'm building new decks, um, it is nice to have land bases that are effective. So
Yeah,
that's something you've been telling me for years, and I slowly put it into effect, and it's finally paying off now. So thank you.
nice.
Um, yeah, I wish I could have played. I had things going on. Um, so I ended up getting my 4 pack of decks. My intentions were to sleeve them up and bring them to Connor and Melissa's and see if they wanted to play. As soon as I started opening up the decks, I went into this ravenous Magic the Gathering trance where I just started ripping. all of my original decks apart, all of those decks apart. I had 4 of my personal decks just splayed about. I had all of these cards separated in piles, and I started building new decks like crazy right there. So there's no chance of me getting any of my decks put into play. But being able to go through them and read every card, I did get a good feel of all these decks. And I do have to say and agree with you that it does not seem like there was any holdback on power. I think everything had very tight synergy. I was impressed with everything. Um, and there were powerful cards in there. I mean, you pass a heroic intervention and Panharmonicon, and like,
Yep.
so I was very impressed by them. I'm happy to be building with them. I have the Kate the Brawler deck, which I had mentioned on another episode. I did pull the trigger on that. I did build it, and it is
Hell yeah.
more of a focus on her. I know I was saying I was going to use big baddies in the graveyard. There's big baddies, but I did put a focus on her and a little bit of evasion and 1/1 counter synergies, and I did fit the Ozolith and All Will Be One in there. So
Gross.
yeah, the grandmas. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that one. But I sacrificed 4 decks in order for these builds to happen. Oh, my other one is I am building the Ishin / Jan Jensen junk token. There we go. So I did put that in there. And yeah, those are both ordered. Those are both built. I ripped everything apart. Like I said, I had intentions of doing this over a slow period, over a couple of weeks, and I enjoyed it so much that I couldn't help myself. Now, I do want to mention on these builds, I used Architect for both of them. I need to continue to say I am so happy that this is a resource for us. I think Architect was a great way to just get cards in, see how they look, see how everything spreads. You can organize how it lays out, and just easily accessed. Even when I was done, there was a buy this deck button, and it just literally loaded everything up. I removed what I already had. So Architect was probably the catalyst that helped me move as fast as I did. Otherwise, I would have used my old method of just kind of writing things in paper and laying things out, and I order 130 cards and then I'll remove later. So Architect is really something that I'm going to use moving forwards. And I do love the fact that I have all of my decks categorized, listed, and valued, so I know what decks are have the value if I ever need to pull something. And it was nice. I won't mention too much about the decks until we play them, but I will say I put in power. They're upgraded. They're not $100 budgets. They are going to be $300 to $400 decks. There's going to be value, and that's not counting the lands, because again, like I said, that's my last thought. So when I put everything up, I just take all of the lands and I put like 37 swamps and islands in there, and I'll worry about my land base once I'm actually putting it together.
So I know that you don't want to go into too much detail to keep the surprise together, but I am interested in, did you just load up, so Kate gets counters from revealing a higher CMC off the top or something, right?
Yes.
Are you
So
going beat I know that the beater creatures, what is your, is it resource spells, is it like utility spells, what are the big things?
Actually, let me pull it up and just see if I could find a few ideas, because it ultimately, I mean, there's big creatures. 1/1 counters is kind of the sub theme, so it's things that might come in with counters or get counters, give counters. Okay, so for Kate here, I can organize this as
Are we talking
categories.
ancient copper dragon, ancient whatever the green one is, dragon? What
So
is the green one?
the green one,
Without looking it up, it's the ancient what dragon?
brass. No, brass is
Brass is black.
black. Gold dragon?
Gold is white.
Hmm.
Silver is blue.
Is blue.
Copper is red.
Bronze dragon?
Is it bronze? Is it? All right, let's see. All right, well, then continue looking it up.
You hit that. All right. Okay, so I've got big guys like Apex Devastator, Ava Brook Caretaker, Dawnglade Regent to give me Monarch and Hexproof. I have Grothama. That way, when she's indestructible, I can have her fight Grothama and get like 10 cards. Hana and Elena to put the
Ooh,
counters and haste. Kogla and Yadaro.
that's cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Toski's in there because if she's going to be swinging indestructible, let's get some card draw. The Tarask, old Gnawbone be in this baby,
Okay. I see.
But
I see.
yeah, but there's big other spells. I mean, I've got Zendikar Resurgent in here, the Mending of Dominaria.
Yeah.
All will be one. Anything that's 5 mana is honestly going to win this clash that happens. And it's big bombastic stuff. Like even for sorceries, I have Titania's Command. Another card that I won't yet mention.
Yeah.
There's
Keep it.
there's cool stuff. I got to put swords in both of these decks for once. I never put swords in, so I did swords. I got the Pip Boy in here.
Hell yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's fun.
actually, going back to that, Pip-Boy is fucking awesome.
Mhm.
I
I,
played a
I hear
Pip-Boy
that.
and Dog Meat, and boy howdy is it the truth. Play it for one. You equip it. The best part about it for me, the thing that is just the icing on the cake, is beyond just the utility, is that when you equip it and you swing with the creature, you can untap the 2 lands that you spent to equip it. It almost feels like it's refunding itself. Um,
Mm.
there were times when I had the land enchantments, that you tap this land, and Wild Growth I think is one, and Utopia Sprawl, shit like that, and just being able to untap those lands, or you know if you're running like a Cabal Coffers, or that kind of thing, Urborg combo, like you can untap. Just that the untapping is so good. I love that card.
Yeah, which is cool. So untapping lands is important, and actually, I do want to call out one card in this deck that I think is very important, very cool, and I think really I've said it in another episode, but I want to keep pushing this card for most commander decks. Is Brass's Tunnel Grinder. It's from Ixalan. It's 2 and a red. It's a legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard any number of cards, then draw that many +1. So you can wheel yourself +1, which is awesome. So you can replace itself. And then at the beginning of each end step, if you descended this turn, which means if a permanent went to your graveyard, put a boar counter on it. If there are 3 or more counters, flip it. First off, just the ability to dump it, to dump your hand and draw new is my favorite thing to do in Commander. I think when you get a full fresh hand, it just really accelerates you. You get excited, new planes. I love that. So the fact that it does that for 3 mana is great, but the backside says it's a land, tap it for red. Whenever you use this, whenever you cast a permanent spell using Teclon, the Searing Rift, you can discover X, where X is the spell's mana value. So in a deck like this, once I've dumped things into my graveyard, which some of it wants to be in there in this deck, and I have a new hand, and I cast something using this, it ramps me by 1. And then if I cast a Galta or whatever I'm casting, it's gonna discover X. And then Pip-Boy can untap it, and I cast something else, and I'll discover a second time.
Hell yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's so useful in so many decks, and I'm playing it in Standard, I'm playing it in Commander, and I don't see it anywhere. So I just want to keep on urging people, just put it in a deck and try it. It's going to do something for the first half, and then when it turns into a land, just discovering X is fucking great.
Big.
So yeah, Kate the Cage Brawler. I'm excited about that one. We need to set up a Commander game, the Commander night. Hopefully this will be all ready by the weekend, but yeah. And then like I said, I'll go over these a little bit more after we play them.
Word.
But thank you, Fallout, for giving me these ideas.
Inspiration. Mr. House is officially under construction. Last night I picked up Comet, the space pup, or whatever the hell that Planeswalker's name is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. Jealous. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I was like, I can't believe I'm playing with Infinity cards because I never thought I would see the day, but here I am trying to make it work.
There it is. Just wait until you're playing Brawl with me on multiplayer arena. You'll
Yeah,
really be
definitely gonna
shocked.
happen, 100%. And the only other thing for me,
Wonder.
new commander build is which I'm waiting for now is I am still interested in building the octopus clash card from Murders. I just think
Awesome.
that's so much fun. Basically, only because I feel like as a player, I always want to have like an Abzan deck. For me personally, I just always want to have an Abzan deck, but I also always want to have a deck for that's just a home for extra turn spells. And I don't currently have that, so that might be yeah, I see that face. That might be where they all
Scowl.
go
All right,
because
that's
I'm a
fair.
big fan.
That's a fair place for extra turn decks. Like that's fun. That's flavorful. It's not overpowered, and you know, manageable. It's you can stomach that extra
Yeah,
turn
it's
a
not
little
so
bit.
bad.
Yeah. No, that's cool. If you build that, I'll build a Talion. So you let me know when you're building yours, and I'll start Talion because
Actually,
I
fun fact,
have so many.
Talion is making waves in CDH.
I I would believe so.
Yeah,
It's just the damage to have someone cast a CMC spell or have it enter with that CMC, toughness or power. Like that thing's super fucking powerful.
yeah, no, I was surprised, but yeah, you jeweled Lotus it out on turn one, and you name one or two, especially in CDH where
Yeah.
everyone's going to be dropping rocks and all their cheap efficiency spells, and you're pinging people for a lot real quick.
Yeah. And not just the pinging, you draw a card too.
Yeah,
So like fuck. Talion is so good. Uh, I wouldn't build it powerful or anything. I would build it as a theme for if you do something, hurt yourself. Kind of like a Rakdos deck, but you know, the Demir style of it of
yeah, sluggy.
not yeah, not tax. Yeah, sluggy, yes. That would be my method and approach. Plus I don't and never really do have a Demir deck. It's the only color, well, that and Selesnya, but I've since broken that. So I need to just find the Demir deck that fits me because
Yeah.
not something I build.
All right,
Man. Listen, let's keep
Arena.
talking about builds. Yeah. uh, it's the intricacies of Magic that are really what I love the most. So I have been playing the standard. Last week I talked about the disguise deck and how I added green, and that's going well. But I wanted to take a minute and go back to my Goblins deck because I built it, played it for like 4 games, and then built another deck. Um, Ended up falling in love with this deck. It is doing super well on best of one on Arena. It is playing very powerfully, and I just want to put out the card that is kind of holding it all together and how it works,
Okay.
just so if it is something you're considering, this is the way. Um, and the most important card of this deck is actually Hunvolt Hunvolt Hordemaster, which is 2 mana. If my fingers would get out of the fucking way, it's 1 and a red Goblin Warrior. Other goblins you control get +1/+1, which is a solid goblin thing.
Hmm.
Whenever he or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin card, you may cast that card until the end of this turn. So he's only a 1/1. But
Yeah.
what he ultimately says is if a goblin dies, exile the top, you can play another goblin. Um, there are 2 different one drop goblins. We have Stalactite Stalker and Cacophony Scamp. And the coffer gets bigger. The scamp can deal damage when it dies. Your 2 drop, you have Zoyawa Lava Tongue, and it's got Death Touch, 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, if you descend this turn, so if something, permanent dies like a goblin was to die, each opponent may discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. If they don't, Lava Tongue deals 3 damage to each opponent who didn't. So it really just lays out to turn 1, you Cacophony Scamp, which is very unthreatening. Turn 2, you drop a Zoyawa, which is just a 2/2 Death Touch. They're like, okay, whatever. Turn 3, you drop the Horde Master. and it pumps them, and you swing, and they're like, okay, well, I got to block at least something now. They block the cacophony. The cacophony dies. It can now deal 2 damage to any person. You deal it to their face. You destroy one of the creatures they play. I mean, 2 damage to block it, and then 2 damage to ping is pretty good for a one
Yeah.
drop. The damage happens end of turn. Because I lost that cacophony, they have to sacrifice a permanent or take 3 damage. And then the Horde Master exiles the top card and gives me card draw to play another goblin next turn. Um, it plays off really fast. You get a lot of damage in early. And then as you run out of steam, Case of the Crimson Pulse is how you build back up. So Case says discard. It's one of the cases. You discard a card, and then you draw 2. And then you solve it by not having any cards in hand. Super easy. So you play it with no hand. You just draw 2 cards for 3 mana. You drop in, 1 or 2. Next turn, you dump your hand. It solves, and then every turn you draw 3 cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. And then as you're doing this, you're just swinging out because your goblins are going to die, and you can cast more goblins from the Horde Master. Everything's +2. You're able to run Squee, and you also have Krenko in this.
The Squee
So
from Dom United?
yes. It's a
Word.
2/2 with haste. When it attacks, make a goblin. And you
Yeah.
can cast it from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
I love that
and
card
then you
because I played that in Red Deck Wins,
yeah, dude. Extra creatures, and if you have the Horde Master out, it's a 3/3, and everything you make is a 2/2.
which is hella strong.
And then you got Krenko. So it's super fucking tight, man. As an aggro player, this is one of my favorite decks I've played in a while. And all these little goblins just go super tight. But I do have to say, the removal you need to run, though, is Bitter Triumph. Don't just be putting shocks and stuff. Get Bitter Triumph in there, because there's a lot of planeswalkers that are going to ruin your day. It's the only way to handle Shieldred with this deck. You
Mm.
have to have the Bitter Triumph. It's the best removal we have in Standard right now. So
Is that a hot take? Best removal?
best removal period. 100%. Pay that 3 life to have the ability to hit planeswalkers and creatures, because I know Go for the Throat is what everyone's running, but if you can't hit every creature, and if you can't hit planeswalkers, trash. Ain't shit. Get the Bitter Triumphs. Adamantly.
Word. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Um,
Yeah.
I have to say that I've been playing a Magic a very, very long time, and not as long as some have been playing since Alpha Beta, but like I feel like decently long, since like 2007 or so. And I have to say, I've always loved goblins as a tribe. I can't say it's my favorite tribe, but I always love seeing goblins be successful, like whenever they show up. Like I like that wizards continuously will do like, every so many sets, like here's some more goblin support, and I'm hyped to see you running goblins. I love that goblins are always kind of like they're an iconic MTG tribe, and they're still kicking. They're still pinging people and stabbing people in the ankle, and I'm a big fan of goblins.
Yeah, they haven't lost relevance, because, you could always almost say that those little creatures like that, eventually get overpowered in the power creep. But no, man. No, they are
Yeah,
killing it.
they're still kicking. They're no elves, but they're
Yeah.
still kicking.
Man, I might send you the deck list, just because it's not a lot of rares. It's easy to build, and I mean it's a fun time to just get through some arenas. So
Yeah, for sure. I
I
would
would
love that.
recommend it. Yeah. Yeah. It's an easy build. I mean, it's fucking goblins. But all right, man. I while we're on Standard, I want to just mention the banned and restricted announcement. Now, obviously, nothing in Standard got banned or restricted. The only changes were Modern, the Violent Outburst is banned, so that way you can't instant speed Cascade. Okay, cool. Ponder is unrestricted. And what is it? Vintage. Okay.
Yeah, no opinion on that. No idea what goes on in vintage.
Yeah. But the thing that I caught out of this was, in Standard, they had mentioned, so they say that 10 months ago they wanted to revitalize Standard. Um, they're now saying that it is super healthy. The numbers of players participating in tabletop Standard play has trended upward, culminating this past week with numbers higher than any other week since the pandemic. There are more than triple the numbers of tickets or individual entries for Standard this year when compared to the same period last year.
I
So,
have a quick caveat though.
ooh, well,
I have
yeah,
a
they're
quick
strong arming us into it. Go ahead,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that is this is this natural returning to form? Is this what players want, or is this merely because they forced Standard as the showdown and the championship and the RCQs and all that stuff? Like, if players had a choice, I'm gonna postulate that if players had a choice and Wizards just said like, whatever you want to play, the same tournaments are available for both. You can win the promo cards with both. That people would choose Pioneer.
Okay, I understand what you mean, and I can almost agree with that. The only thing that I could say is, yes, they forced it for sure. This was kind of, listen, I'm going to sit you down at this table and I'm going to give
You're
you this
playing
broccoli and
Standard,
yeah,
son.
you're
Yeah.
you're doing this. So I get that. Yes, that is what happened. But we are the most annoying community when it comes to I don't like what they did. There would have been an outcry if there really was an issue with Standard. And I think really what is happening is people are kind of like, what? But I've been playing Pioneer. I don't know about this. They build some Standard decks. They go to these things, and suddenly they're sucked into this this format again. I think that Standard truly is in a resurgence. I think it is the healthiest it has been, honestly, in my time ever playing. The amount of cards that are viable, the decks that are seeing. Now, again, I play best of one on Arena, but I play in such a frequency that if it wasn't a good Standard, I would have eventually been fatigued. But I'm still
Mhm.
building these decks that are still, I mean, over 50% win rate for every piece of trash that I build, you know?
Mhm.
So it's a safe environment for me to do my weird stuff, but it's also, when I do want to build a powerful deck, it's there. And these people are doing these tournaments. You don't hear any complaints about it, besides the fact that, maybe they were pandering for it to happen, but no one's saying they hate it. So I think, in all honesty, that Standard is coming back, will be a pillar, and maybe it'll never see its heyday that it used to have because of the amount of formats. But man, Standard ain't going anywhere because they're doing a great job with it. And I know you're not really playing it right now, but when you do finally get back into some sort of Standard, there will be a set that pulls you in. And when you come in, you're just gonna squish right in there, and
Uh-huh.
you're gonna love it. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah, we'll
So
see.
that's
It
it.
takes one archetype for me to get like excited about it. Maybe if
Yeah,
they bring black white warriors from Tarkir,
dude.
I'll
Black, white mice warriors in Bloomborough.
I that could draw me in. That could draw me in.
Yeah, yeah. No, it'll eventually happen, but maybe Bloomborough will be the set. We'll see. But either way, I'm happy that they didn't ban anything too. And there's cards that, like I always say, Shieldred would probably be the number one, but at the same time, Bitter Triumph. It's that simple. You just
Yeah.
have a little bit of removal, and it is what it is. So yeah, good stuff.
I do think that the violent outburst ban, because I know that it just like you're just supposed to cascade into crashing footfalls, like essentially is the play there in modern.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like it's definitely just an intention to mix up the meta before Modern Horizons 3 comes out and just dookies all over everything.
yeah. I yeah, that's gonna be so funny watching that shit show of
Oh yeah, I'm
you
so
know
happy I'm not invested in modern at all.
you ruined it.
Just give me my commander cards because every set is commander now, and I'll be on my way.
Yeah, and the finance end of it, of these packs are so expensive, and you ruined my format. I just spent a ton of
Uh-huh.
money to ruin my format.
Yep,
Get to
it's
that
great.
finance. But yeah, so I'm excited about that, man. I
So
love chaos. Like,
yeah, exactly. Especially when I'm not like in it. I'll watch
yeah,
it from
yeah,
over here.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so speaking of finance, I just like quick market update is that they severely underprinted Fallout collector packs, and something very interesting is happening with the Fallout collector packs for me because on one hand you can get the entirety of the set by buying the commander decks. Um, on the other hand, though, you have the surge foils and whatnot that are only in the collector packs. But since they short printed them so much, the prices of packs are like skyrocketing. Like they're going to $40 a pack. Um, Tons of allocations were cut from all distributors. Even our local game store had their allocation cut. Um, and there was a big debacles online where like people were getting like had to get their orders refunded and whatnot after pre-ordering, and they missed out on getting their boxes and all that. So that is jacking the prices of the boxes up, but like the contents of the packs aren't there. Like opening a collector's pack, there's only a couple of things you can hit really that'll justify the price of that pack. You know what I mean? So it's just a very interesting like dynamic of buying packs is very expensive, but if you do buy it, you're very, very unlikely to get like your value back out of it. Not that
Well,
packs should mostly be that way. Obviously, you're
yeah,
gambling
yeah,
anyway. What I'm
yeah.
saying though is that all of the card, like, there's not, besides the bobblehead serialized, there's not anything that you're not gonna be able to just get from just the decks, besides Wasteland and Crucible of Worlds.
Right, right. Which, yeah, which is funny. It's like you could spend $40 on a booster pack and hope of pulling something, or just spend, you know, 50, 60 and get the whole entire deck.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so
Like
yeah, I hear
like
you.
why
But
buy a box of collector's packs when you could buy the set of commander decks and have every card?
yeah, hmm. Yeah, and for people like you and me who are playing to play, yeah, obviously that's the way to do it. And honestly, buying the four uh, decks, I feel so confident in that decision. I don't feel like I got hosed at all. I think there was
No.
plenty of value there. I mean,
Yeah.
even for the things I'm not playing, they're sitting there ready for other decks, and I could sell them if need be. Um, but I get it. Listen, if you're gonna be a collector and you want that gamble on a collector's pack, that little bit of price change isn't going to matter. The value of the card kind of matters, but if you know you're buying something that's already you know, a high commodity, low supply, the prices will go up. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll all balance out in the end, but for sure I'm not going to get caught up in any of that packs because I already have all the cards, like you said,
Yeah,
like
you have them all.
got them
You have
all.
them all.
But now, do you plan on buying any singles while the price is at its
Yes.
lowest?
Yes.
All
See,
right,
that's
what are you
that's
getting?
the one thing I would say is the caveat here is that, if you do buy the commander decks and you do want to keep them together or mostly together, if you want cards for other things, then you need to start buying some singles or, roll the dice on packs, but just buy singles because why would you ever do that? Um, but definitely going to grab another Pip Boy or two just to have. I don't even have anything intentional for it yet, but like it's just so good. I want to put it in something.
Yeah,
Um,
I like well rested is I think one of my favorite little low key cards printed in there. Let me pull it up and I'll read it real quick. So it's a 2 mana aura, well rested, one in a green. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature becomes untapped, put 2/1/1 counters on it, then you gain 2 life and draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn. I love that so much in terms of like for a 2 mana enchantment. It untap, you gain 2 life, you get 2 counters, you draw a card. That's the holy trinity of what green wants to be doing,
yeah,
you know? So yes, the creature removal can happen, but if you have a commander that has, I don't know, maybe indestructible like Kate, um, this is a good time. So it's those little cards like that where like if I could pick up one or two more of them or something for dirt cheap, I'll do that stuff. I
yeah,
also did order Kate and Surge foil.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
fortunate enough to get Mr. House and Surge Foil from a collector sample pack, which was like kismet.
If if that ain't fate right there,
Yeah,
divine intervention, my
I
friend.
literally was like, okay, well, this was meant to be. So
Meant to be. Talking of meant to be, the most unparalleled, amazing meant to be moment was actually involved you at a pre-release. I had a Rakdos deck, and you had always said, Mike, you should be building a demons deck. You should always build demons. Now, Rakdos, the showstopper, was revealed, and you had gotten me to admit that if I pulled a pre-release Rakdos the showstopper, I would build a Rakdos the showstopper deck. I said, absolutely. If I pull that, I'll do that. This and that. We sit down at the pre-release table, and I open up my pack, and as my pre-release promo was Rakdos the showstopper. And oh my god, I will never forget that feeling of like, you know, great googly moogly.
yeah,
It
fuck.
really happened, you
I
know.
need to do this now.
And I did build that Rakdos the showstopper that I had. I hired someone to alter it from Europe. I made my coin. That's how the coin got created. The origin was from that wild thing. So I love when stuff like that happens, you know.
Yeah,
And now you got the Surge foil, Mr. House,
yeah.
right?
Not extended. It's the regular border, but it is Surge Foil.
Still, oof, yeah, that's awesome, man. Love it. Good. Well, is there any other cards that you want to shout out from Fallout before we move on?
Nuclear Fallout is very cool.
Yeah,
I like that it's twice X. It's very accessible, and
yeah,
actually, I didn't get to cast it, but there was one time it was cast to great effect to because Mothman gets very strong very quick.
yeah,
Whenever somebody mills the non-land, he's getting a counter. I don't know if it's just in one rad session or if it's literally every single one. I can't recall, but I just know that there were definitely times when, having a flying 8/8 coming at you, was difficult to deal with because not everyone has, flying, and the fact that they were able to use nuclear fallout to keep it at like X's negative, -6 and keep their Mothman alive but still wipe the board was pretty cool. Like obviously Toxic Deluge is better, just because it's cheaper, in my opinion, because you could pay life and you have more life available than mana. But X twice X is very accessible, so
yeah,
I think that card is very good. And plus, giving everyone rads is also just like fun to me.
yeah. Now, how much is that card? Is it a budget cost for? Okay, so it's about $3 or $4. So it can definitely just be a budget replacement for Toxic Deluge.
Yeah,
You know,
or your Toxic Deluge too.
yeah, absolutely. But for those days where you're like, man, I can't justify $30
I mean,
to get
Toxic
one of
is
these
only
for
like
free.
$8. You get one for eight
Get
bucks right
out of
now.
here!
Yeah, it's
Oh
it's
my
not
god!
expensive.
All right. Fuck the Fallout. Go buy your fucking Toxic Deluges.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is what I say all the
Yeah,
time. Buy them
I
now, so
know.
when they creep back up to like $15, and then they're
Yeah.
reprinted again. You know what I mean? Just get them. Get them other cheap. Get one.
I want No Mercy to go down in price. I
Is
would
that
stock up
expensive
on.
right now?
I mean, it's always like $20, right?
It was just reprinted. It's like $7. Eight
Oh
bucks.
my god. Oh my god.
In
Oh my god.
fact, the
Okay.
cool art from Dominaria Remastered is like $7.
That's get out of here. Okay. See, good job, Wizards.
Yeah, these remastered sets are awesome. I mean, I know a lot
Yeah.
of people complain. We're still in the finance segment. I know people complain about like losing the value. And even as somebody who has like a lot invested in Magic, like I would rather the game pieces be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because like for this instance actually, like I feel like, sometimes there's complaints like, oh, Joel always has like X, Y, and Z card, but like those cards are not out of reach anymore. I mean,
Right.
$8 is what, like 2/3 of the price of a sandwich. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Dude,
Like it's
dude, you
not.
yeah, you can't get a bagel and a coffee for $8 anymore,
That's what
you
I'm
know?
saying. So like realistically, like they don't have to be in every deck, but people should pick up one. Get one of each of these like kind of things, and then You just kind of have it and hold on to it.
Yeah, I it's so funny that you say that stuff because literally yesterday I had to go pick up some soup and sandwiches from a local soup shop, and it cost me $63 to get soup and sandwiches.
Jesus.
Now I paid that, no problem. Thank you for the food. I'm out of there. And as I'm driving home, I realized that so my Ishin deck cost me $58 and tax, and so it ended up being like 62. And I was sweating bullets trying to pull the trigger on this deck that I'm gonna play forever, that I can resell to get
Yeah.
my money back, and is that and like,
Even partially, yeah.
yeah, I mean, in good cards. There was Prosper in that set. There was a Gold Span in that set. So like it was good cards that are gonna. And I was sick because I spent $60 on Magic cards, but meanwhile, soup and poop is
Yeah,
what else I
soup
bought.
and
It's
pooping.
like soup and poop. So it's funny how we build up this price of $10 as like, oh my god, that's a listen. The money's falling apart. The world's expensive. Go buy your Magic cards now. Go get them.
Actually, it's funny. This point is very good. I say the same point about mobile games a lot. And I just find that like I know plenty of people and myself included where like if you're looking for, you're looking through the app store just trying to see like, maybe you have some time to kill and you're sick of the games on your phone, you don't want to play Arena maybe. But I find that, you see a game and it costs $1 and it's like I don't want to fucking buy that. Like that's dumb. But like it's 99 cents. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah,
dollar. Really? Is that going to break the bank? But just something about it, like how our brains perceive like a cost attached to something like, oh, I don't know, but how other
yeah,
things like, souping and pooping that, doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah. There's got to be an explanation to it in some like rational level, but
I'm sure.
by golly, I it's just wild how we don't really understand value and when when there's actually a good deal in front of us. But I guess it's because Magic is tabooed as like, kind of like this weird hobby luxury. Um, but at the end of the day, if you look at Magic, what it really is, it is a an access for a social aspect. Listen, man, we wouldn't see each other half as often as we do, and if it wasn't for Magic, it is truly a social thing, and that social is a very valued thing. Um, no one's hanging out in groups of three or more anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's just online doing their thing, and the fact that we're getting together and building this again, this social aspect of our lives that is important to everybody, yet we all kind of ignore a little bit. Like, you can put a little money into that. So don't look at it as the cards as much as it is what's happening with the cards. And seeing you and Joey and Mark, and I'll tell a story before we finish this off of seeing Connor and Melissa because of Magic. Like, don't think that when you buy a card, it's just for the cardboard. It is for the ability to hang out and have a great time. And that's something that I think we're not valuing when we talk about
Yeah.
what we're doing. So
It's the Gathering, man. It's literally called Magic the Gathering. We can't forget that.
fucking damn. They knew what they were doing. They
Yeah,
knew
no,
it.
it's great. One last point I have about Fallout Finance, not specifically Fallout related, is that I'm a big fan of MVP sports and games. Um, I know that most people are a fan of them. Some people have said that some of their reporting, because what they do is they release like articles, kind of giving like market insights as like a large distributor. Some people find them to be a bit hyperbolic in terms of like what the reporting is, and obviously they're like a business as well, so it behooves them to kind of skew news in their favor. I forget what set it was, but I remember there was one time when they said like, "Hey, this set isn't really coming out a lot," and it ended up not being like the greatest set, and people like kind of accused them of, "Are you trying to like hype everyone up to buy this when you knew it wasn't going to be great?" But
Mm,
regardless, I feel like in general, I appreciate what they say, and they do offer some of the cheapest prices you can find online, regardless of that. So, big fan. But the one thing I wanted to point out that they said in their most recent article is that previously, when distributors talk to the stores and whatnot, they're told this is your allocation. You can buy this much. Tell me how much you want. apparently Wizards is changing the game a little bit for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and now distributors are saying, how much do you want? And there's no allocation. Like there's just infinite allocation apparently. Like a
Hmm.
distributor can buy as much as they want. Now, what that means for on the player side of things is going to be interesting because Murders is not doing well. You can find boxes for $100 regularly now. It's play booster boxes, whereas before they were going for like 140, 150 type deal. And stores, everyone I've seen it like it is giving them away essentially. It's like, oh, buy something, but you need to buy a little Murders because it's not moving. And there's, again, we've talked about this in the past, but like there's no bonus sheet, blah blah blah. So Murders is struggling.
Hmm.
I'm very interested to see initial opinions on Thunder Junction from what I've seen have not been positive either, to be honest with you. Um,
Right.
and I'm wondering, is this like a change because they're maybe expecting another not gonna go that great set, and then
Oh,
and
okay.
then distributors can buy, like, buy as much as you want because you can finally, like, is it kind of a trap because then someone's gonna buy like too much Thunder Junction and then it's gonna suck ass and they're not gonna be able
Hmm.
to move it and then they're gonna start selling it for less than $100 again. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm interested to see how spoilers go for Thunder Junction because people aren't hyped yet.
Well, listen, if they're gonna have a hard time selling Thunder Junction, I think the Too Fast, Too Furious set is gonna be even worse. This might be a weird year for Magic because the sets that we have set up, and I know that's not coming till later, right? That's 2025 is the Too Fast, Too Furious, whatever that is. I keep calling it that. I don't honestly know what
Oh,
it
the
is.
Omen Path Racing
Omen
set.
Path, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's at the end of it, right?
Yeah, I want to say, let's look it up.
Yeah, because that's an idea that I immediately feel iffy on, but the fact that they're literally racing, like the fact that they're calling it a race through these sets, like on some, you know, Rainbow Road Mario Kart, you know, I don't know. It sounds so weird to me. But
Yeah,
it's
we have.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. What do you got on it? When is
Oh,
it?
just that we have, looking at the rest of the year, there's Thunder Junction soon that's coming out April. June is Modern Horizons 3, which I think is going to be huge because I think Modern Horizons 2 was like the best-selling set before Lord of the Rings came out.
Hmm.
Um, Assassin's Creed, which I think is gonna do okay, honestly.
Yeah,
Um, but Bloomborough coming in August, I think is going to be like the big set of the year in terms of
yeah,
like just like everyone's buying Bloomborough. Like it just feels everyone's hyped for it.
yeah,
Um, all they need to do is stick like a cool bonus sheet in there, and it'll sell like hotcakes.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they could even just do planeswalkers as animals. Put that as a bonus sheet.
Yeah,
That would be the fucking
absolutely. Fox, Jace, fucking Otter, Rawl, like let's go.
yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, Garruk as a bear,
Yeah,
you know?
awesome. I'm
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Oh my
Chandra
god,
is
yeah,
like
they
a bird or something, like a
oh yeah. Yeah, like a phoenix looking bird, you
yeah.
know? Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, because what Lily would be like a little otter or something. No, no, wait. They put Ral as an otter. She can't
Lily
be
would
an
be like a
otter.
badger or something. Like I don't know.
Ooh, or like a black jaguar. Oh,
That might be too
those
big.
piercing eyes. Ah, but those piercing eyes. Yeah, all right. Little minx.
Yeah, like a
Fucking
yeah, a mink.
which?
Yeah,
Yeah,
or a ferret.
ferret. Yeah, yeah. Something Weasley, but not a weasel. Don't make her a weasel,
No,
please.
yeah, no.
Yeah, a little more classy. But no, that'd be good. Listen, I'm not worried for Thunder Junction. I think Thunder Junction is going to be a banger and a half. I have high hopes for it. Again, whatever the themes are, we need to kind of separate ourselves. They can't make the coolest gnarliest thing in the world. And I guess my best way to say it is like Brandon Sanderson. So I'm hard into this Brandon Sanderson books. And every time I finish a trilogy, like the Mistborn series was unbelievable. It's what got me hooked. I loved it. And then when I started to get into the Wax and Wayne, I was like, hey man, I miss the other thing. This doesn't feel right to me. But by the end of it, Wax and Wayne were my guys. They
Yeah,
were
dude.
phenomenal.
It's a different flavor, but it tastes good.
Yes. And then I hopped into another one. And just recently I did the White Sands. And I mean, White Sands seemed to be kind of like the B-sides of like the greatest hits album. And again, the first few minutes, I was like, I don't know about it. But by the end of it, I loved it. So we need to stop this, not stop it because it's innate in humans. But as we get these awkward feelings, it's like, okay, but we know this is going to be different. This is going to be different. This is not what we can expect or think. See how it's presented in what it is, and if it's worth it. Like I still think Murders is good personally. Maybe value wise it wasn't that crazy, but the set was good. I'm still drafting it. It's still fun. I mean, I haven't even built around the new Rakdos yet, and that card's phenomenal. So like there's still so much potential that once standard gets rotated out, Murders will get a new light shown on it, and the Thunder Junction is still going to be good. We just got to stay positive because Magic is not making a set to suck. All they can do is, formulate, hey, this one didn't work, so maybe Thunder Junction won't. But as players, we need to just stay very positive and be like, listen, they're doing their best. They don't want to fail. Let's just take it as it is and, don't be too critical.
And I think that I'm glad that they're taking chances on things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather them try every type of themed set, and it's only a matter of time. Like fuzzy woodland creatures is a pretty out there theme. It's but people are hyped
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Just keep trying. Just keep doing new things, Wizards. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, they're going to do the misdirection of like, well, we have modern masters over here, so don't worry about this and do that. So they just go with it. I like it.
All
And
right,
like you said, if they didn't, then we would be getting Dominaria every fucking
all the
year,
time, or
and we would be so
Ravnica.
sick of it. Yeah, yeah, just back and forth because it's like, well, those are the safe ones. It's like, no, give me the weird shit because that's how you find those. Like go into space or like the world underground, like Ixalan or like these things where like maybe you shouldn't do that. They fucking did it, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
So, all right,
All right.
fun or trash. All
Funner
right, buddy.
trash. All right, so this is kind of a cheater fun or trash because I feel like based on the price, most people find it to be fun at least. Um, so I actually won a blame game pre-con um, on Whatnot. So it's incoming, and I was very excited because there was a lot of cards in the blame game pre-con that I wanted to pull out for other things. Like I'm not gonna use this deck to play. I'm just gonna strip it for parts like immediately. But the one card that stood out with me, which is very expensive right now, is Trouble in Pairs. And Trouble in Pairs is 2 and 2 whites, so 4 mana total for an enchantment. If an opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Whenever an opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card. So it's like combining all of the conditional white. It reminds me of Mangara the Diplomat when that came out.
Immediately,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like one of those like, oh, anything your opponent does to break, the nice fun of 1 card per turn, 1 spell per turn, you get to draw in white. It's great. Right now it's sitting at like 25 to $26 market price.
It's $29.99 on Card Kingdom right now.
Yeah, so what do you think? Fun
Dude,
or trash?
I honestly I think this is trash. I for 2 white, if this was 3 and a white, it would be more acceptable. But so for the fact that it's 2 white, and the first one here, if an opponent would take an extra turn, that player skips that turn. That is useless to me. I know you take extra turns. I know that's a thing. I will never waste an entire slot in my deck
Yep.
just on the off chance that someone's going to take an extra turn. My thing would be just power up myself. That way I can survive it, or a Teferi's protection, or whatever. Something that is like a used for other than only if you're going to take an extra turn. Now, for the second piece, whenever an opponent attacks with 2 or more creatures, and it has to be you, so it's not even if they attack anybody, so they have to be attacking you, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell, draw 2 cards. I think Mangara does it way better than this in every way. And Mangara is only like what, $5, $8 max if you want the extended art. So
yeah, I'm bringing it up now.
All right, so Mangara is a 2/4 lifelink legendary creature for 3 and a white, and it says
It's
whenever
$1.
it's $1.
Yeah, $2.
Okay.
Commander Masters printing.
Okay, so it's a 2/4 body with lifelink, which is nice. And whenever someone attacks you with you or a planeswalker you control with 2 or more creatures, you draw a card. And whenever someone casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. The only thing that it doesn't have is when an opponent draws their second card each turn, you also draw. So the Trouble in Pairs can get you 1 more card draw, but it's not a body. It doesn't have lifelink. And I think the extra turns is a mute point. Listen, if you're playing with people who take extra turns, maybe you want this card. But for me personally, bro, I'd rather see Mangara in my deck any day than this 2 white.
Yeah, man, I don't understand. I'm wondering if this is like a smuggler share type situation. I don't know if you remember Smuggler Share. I have it up
No.
now. So this came out in New Capenna, and I remember when it was first spoiled, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is the commander card of the set." It had a pretty strong price point when it first came out. I'm fairly certain. Let's look at a year out.
Oh, I remember the artwork. Okay.
Yeah. This is 2 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. Then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands enter the battlefield under their control this turn. Where, like, it sounds good in theory, but it just, having played it myself, I never really feel like it did too much. Not everyone's drawn more than 1 card a turn, to be honest. That's the thing. Like,
No.
it's not as frequent. I love a lot of these cards. The thing is, a lot of these cards, especially Trouble in Pairs, are great in mono white. Like, mono white has gotten so many tools over the past years to like get stronger, but I just don't see a justification for putting Trouble in Pairs in a deck that has more than just white. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not seeing the almost $30 worth of value on this card personally.
That's it. Yes, I guess when I say trash, I mean it's a good card. You can draw cards. It's fun, and if you can stop someone from it, it can be fun. But the trash part of it is like, don't you charge me $30 for that fucking
Yeah,
card?
no, yeah, it seems like it'd be a $5 card
Yeah,
or something. If
yeah,
Mangara is
four and
$2,
change. Yeah,
then
yeah,
the only thing propping up this price is very clearly the fact that it only comes in a commander deck from a
right,
set that nobody really likes. So you have to invest $45 to $50 if you're buying the deck at like a box store just to get your hands on it. But at the
right.
same time, like, that's not appealing to me. It's not
Yeah.
appealing to me at all.
Okay, so let's not touch that card, and then in 3 or 4 years, when it gets put in some, you know, random bullshit where we, commander, because they do the commander master sets, so
Yeah,
like
it's only a matter of time.
it's a matter of time. Just hold that, play the waiting game, and then we can get that for $3 each, and
Well,
still not play it because I ain't playing it no matter what. So
well, I was gonna say, to be fair though, since I have one and I got it completely by chance, I will put it into something.
yeah, yeah,
Probably into Atomic because it's Orzhov and
yeah,
it doesn't have as many tools. I just once you get to 3 colors, I'm just like I feel
yeah.
like
And
any
plus,
3 color combo can cover the weaknesses of this card is supposed to cover.
yeah, plus Tomic is a good one because you don't want any swings at you.
Yeah.
So, the fact that there's that thing of like, oh, if I swing at him, I'm going to give him a card, and then everyone will, know that I'm the one who gave him that card is like,
If I have
maybe
Mangara, this, and Tomic out, every time you attack me with 2 more creatures, I get to draw 3, which isn't bad.
that's disgusting. Gross.
All right, never mind. Great card. Fun.
Oh,
Fun
yeah.
card.
It's fun.
We found it.
I see now. Oh shit. Well, all right. Let me just tell you real quickly. So I went to Connor's and Melissa's, and I was technically supposed to do electrical work with them, but it was going to rain, and they wanted to play Magic, and so it ended up being all Magic. So that
Word.
was awesome. We played 4 games. They were so excited. So the last time they actually sat down and played Commander before the baby was when we went up there to play Magic with them at their old place, and they cracked out their decks, and you could just tell that they were so excited to sit down. Um, and then I absolutely annihilated the whole day. It was no, I won 3 out of the 4 games. They were all close. They were all good. Um, but it was wild. So they were playing the first game. He was playing his Rasp. What's his name? The captain from Unfinity that turns everything into vehicles
Oh
and then
yeah,
crashes in.
yeah, the Zap Brannigan.
Zap Brannigan,
Yeah,
yeah.
like Futurama deck.
Yeah, and Melissa played her Angels deck. What's her name?
Kalia?
Kalia. And I played Clark, and everything went well. Everybody was doing their things. Clark went crazy.
Always
He
does.
absolutely he was just going out of control, and I ended up having a very, very unfortunate coin flip at some point, which lost me a whole turn. I would like to say that I cast Hit the Mother Load for the 4th time now, and for the 4th time have hit a 2 CMC off the Discover 10,
Word.
which is always a bummer until I realize I get 8 treasure tokens.
Which is
And
not
then,
bad.
dude, honestly, maybe that's the best thing to
Better,
do
yeah.
with that.
Just like
Like,
money.
but it's so much, and if you cast that and you win the flip, you discover twice and you can possibly get, 16 because
Yeah.
again, I'm only hitting two CMC spells. But I got cocky in that game, and at the end of it, I went for the win, and Connor cast Comeuppance, which is like, no damage happens to him, and if damage would happen to him, he sends it back to the sender,
Yeah.
and it just annihilated me. Um, those are my favorite kind of cards in Commander.
Yeah, keto
Comeuppance.
cards.
What's that? Face Palm is the other one, right?
Deflecting
The
palm.
deflecting palm.
And that
And
Rakdos one, like Backdraft or some shit like that you've played before. What's that
oh,
Rakdos one that does the same thing?
oh, well, so that's a target creature would deal damage to their opponent, and you can only cast it. And it starts with a D. I don't know. We'll find that one on another one, but I don't even know how to look that one up. But yeah, that's that old school card where and my favorite one of that was when Mark attacked me with a Blightsteel, and I cast it, and instead Blightsteel dealt the damage to him, and he died of his own infect. Great stuff.
Love that. I'd build an
Yeah,
Aikido deck one day, I feel like.
yeah,
Just
that's
like,
a great idea. Yeah,
yeah, just like a haha, you did this to yourself deck.
yeah, that would be a good build. So look into that. But yeah, so ultimately I lost that one. It was a great win. The next game, Melissa was playing, and I forget his name. Well, no. This one was Raf and Rafik, Rafik, and it
Hmm.
was the infect. And like turn one, she put out a little 1/1 infect and hits me for 1 poison, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then next turn, she hits me for 6 poison, and I'm like turn 3 already almost dead, and I had to play the entire game in defense. Luckily, I believe I was playing Gilwain for that, so Gilwain puts up a good defense.
Yeah.
But it came down to it was her turn, and she was able to get me to 9 infect, and I was just able to get the finals out on that. So um, the other 2 games were good. It ended up being everyone played great. It's always weird playing 3-player, because it is much more aggressive on everybody. But I want to say that Melissa had played a commander that I had never seen. It was an older one. She has played it against us, but I never collected its name. And it's tap it, and target creature becomes a 1/1.
Oh yeah.
And
Ilvec core or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an old border, and it seemed unassuming to me until she started putting -1/-1 counters on all creatures, and just kept on turning my creatures into 1/1s, which
No.
automatically
Yeah.
killed it. Dude, every time I thought I was safe, I forgot that that's what it did, and
Yeah.
just kept on destroying my creatures. So that was a cool commander that I'd never seen before. It was under my radar, and then just had control. It was like a controlled massacre girl is kind of what it felt
Yeah.
like, So that was cool. But it was great. I told them we need to start setting up a monthly set,
Hmm.
and then just come on up and we'll get some more commander in, because you could see they want to get more in.
They need it.
It's fucking magic. It's magic,
Yeah.
man. You,
You
you need it.
need it.
Yeah. And little Ivan was there the whole time, happy little baby bopping around in his seats and everything. So
Learning in-depth strategies.
the whole time I'm trying to get him to say, all right, in response, holding priority.
Pay the 2.
Pay
Pay
the
the 2.
Always pay the 2. He's gonna be a little Boros baby. He was born in Year of the Boros. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, but no, so that was good. I'm glad we're playing. We have to all get together and play soon. I know you said to get online set up. I would love to do the spellcasters or something. So
Yeah. We'll look into it.
work on more. Yeah. We could record that too. That's
We
something that
could.
we could record and
Gameplay.
post. So yeah, watch how foul mouthed and unintelligent we get halfway through a commander. Well, us at least. You're always
I
so
was gonna
sharp.
say, speak for yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on
Yeah,
point constantly.
yeah, too much. Maybe that was my problem. I was saying to them too. It's like I was there. I was so sober playing Magic, and I was like, I've never been this sober playing Magic before. This is wild. But all right, man. I think we reached
The
the
bottom of
bottom
the
of
glass.
the glass. All right. Listen, we did it early. Right now, it's the sun's just finally coming up. We're gonna go
Yep.
enjoy our nice Saturdays, and I might go crack one more just to keep this going.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. Until next week, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy.